I'm going to do the intro and then we'll get... Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to the One Acre at a Time podcast. I am your host, Racing Guy, joined by this time we have a co-host, Aries. Say hi, Aries. We're on air.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, we haven't done one of these in a while, but we're going to kind of summarize everything we've seen. So, we got to kind of look from like May on back, but I put up a dominant performance in the Cars Cup Series. If we're just going to kind of review the last month, I mean, I won 16 of the 20 races. So that was a pretty good season. Then, obviously, we had a lot of Crown Jewel events in the month of May. We had a different driver win each one. Obviously, with Bonita Springs and then Monaco. The Indy 500 or Independence 500 where Aries made an appearance. We had the Soda 600. And,
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
yeah, and it was it was just a pretty big month for the league. And then now today, well, I guess technically tomorrow, but today marks the first day of the summer stretch for the league, which is usually a very busy time of year. And I know Aries, you're new this year, but it is. This time of year is a fun time to be an ACRE official.
Yep. Are
Um,
you live?
no, I'm just recording a video.
Ah,
All right. So yeah, previous month was pretty good, but we got to talk about the big announcement. So to start, we announced the band, the Argo band. I think that's going to be very big. I think that's going to help a lot for the league to kind of you know get the word out about it more. I mean, what do you think about it?
yeah, that's good.
I think it's gonna be fun. I think as long as everything goes well, it will be pretty good. Obviously, then we also had the big news: the entirety of the league will be changing. We're going from the 100 race seasons basically down to just 40 a year for the time being. And we're just gonna have, instead of the multiple series, we're just gonna have the one series. So with the league built tracks and games and stuff. But I mean, what do you think of all that new information? I mean, we own it. Literally every single league is gonna be completely altered for 2025.
Yep.
Yeah, the 40 race seasons are gonna be something that's gonna make everything a lot more intense. Wins will mean a lot more then because you don't just have like a chance the next day. You got to win then, and then you don't. I mean, there's gonna be a few double headers, but for the most part, you probably won't get another chance still next week. So it's gonna be way more frustrating loss at that. But I mean, I know for most drivers, they only show up to one race, maybe two a weekend anyway, but still.
Mhm.
Let's see, what was it? Oh yeah, the new charter agreement. The team, we're gonna be completely changing teams since we're closing down series. Basically, the league has. I mean, we didn't buy them back, but it's in the charter agreement. We can just take the charters back if we do something like this. So we're taking the charters back at the end of the season. If teams want to stick around, we'll give them back. If there's a new team, then we'll have a little bit of a bidding battle. But for the most part, based on the amount of drivers we're looking at, we're probably looking at like maybe 7 teams. Because the most amount of drivers you can have on a team is 4 now. Part-time drivers.
Mhm.
If you add on part-time drivers, you can have as many as you want. I don't care. You can have your full-time drivers, and then you can have like 20 part-time drivers on your team. I honestly don't care, but how many part-time drivers? There are no limit to that. But the 4 chartered cars is all you can have. We're looking at anywhere from probably 4 to 7 of those. So that means definitely more teams. But with the new charter agreement, everyone becomes a free agent. So the 4-year contracts we signed with I had my driver sign at RGA. the the 2-year deals, the 1-year deals that everyone signed, those are going to be out the window. Which this is the first year silly season was kind of going to come into play because we had some drivers under contract, but no, we're going to have anyone can go anywhere basically. Pineapple could go to Bloxy Motorsports if you really wanted to, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, how many major driver transfers do you think we're going to see over the silly season here?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I mean you're the only person here.
Oh, no idea.
Yeah, I mean I don't expect anything too crazy, but I mean RGA is going to be basically being cut in half. I mean we already kind of have a charter that we're going to lose, and we already have a charter. I'm probably not going to be able to fill, so we're really just downsizing like two. Um, but I mean, there's another charter that's basically not being used either, so really just downsizing
Hmm.
one. But like, oh, actually, I don't even know if we're gonna have to downsize at all because well, this leads perfectly into my next segment. We had the major announcement on Sunday that one of the best drivers in league history up to this point, Banana Boy, has announced his retirement from full-time competition. Um, so that is gonna he's closing down his team at the end of the season, so he will not be a team owner. He's gonna race part time, and he said he's not gonna try to get the race time changed a little bit, or if he sees it on, he'll probably join. But if he doesn't want to race, he's not gonna race. So, um, but he basically just pulled a Carl Edwards. Now I know you aren't. I hate this cough. I know you aren't too familiar with NASCAR, but there's this NASCAR driver who he had a chance to win the championship. He was in the final round of the playoffs and got involved in a crash with like 10 to go in the race, trying to throw a block to win the championship, and
Mm.
got in a big crash. And that was like the second or third time he's came close to a championship. He never got one. He was about to. He was in the prime of his career. He was about to. He's a really good driver, but he just retired from the sport entirely. So that's
Um,
kind of what Banana is doing here because he went on a tear in May. He won the Independence 500. He won the Cars Cup title. Like he was absolutely cooking last month. But yeah, I mean, what is your reaction to that? I know you.
unfortunately, he quit.
Yeah, I mean, what's your reaction to that? Because like here, I'll pull up the stats here in a second. But he is.
Um, um, even if he quits, hopefully he finds his path. You know.
Yeah, yeah. He said he was. He said the main reason he retired was to spend more time on his channel and YouTube and stuff. But let's see here. So he has 11 wins this season, and he has 30 or wait no 25 overall wins if you count this year and last year. If we look at the point standings, he is the leading full-time driver now in the overall point standings. You get part-time drivers and non-part-time drivers get scored on the same list. Like we'll know who's a part-time driver and who's not, but yeah, but Amboy is the leading um, non-part-time driver, and he's got like 800 points on the next guy. So he is obviously a pretty good driver. He'll be the final Cars Cup champion because that series does ever come back, it will probably not be in the Cup Series. So yeah, that was big news. And with the silly season and stuff, he was gonna be probably one of the top guys people wanted to sign because Pineapple, he's one of the older drivers in ACRE. You don't know how much time he realistically has to do this anymore, right? At this point, like he's we don't know I think well he said on the ACRE documentary he's like 17, I think. So
Hmm.
he you gotta imagine college is probably coming up at some point if he chooses to go that route. Job's coming up, so you got to question how much time he has to do this. Banana Boy probably was going to be the highest full time driver draft stock, but that obviously plummeted on Sunday. Um, he also did
He
it in
doesn't have
part
a
just because
job yet.
I don't know. He mentioned he was going to try to get one at some point. I don't remember what race it was, but yeah. So that's gonna be it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, at this point, I don't even really know who the top draft prospect would be because Ambo was probably one of our star drivers. He was, yeah. I mean, that was just shocking news. I mean, if you look closely, you could kind of see it coming. He was growing frustrated with some of the tough losses he had and stuff, and the bad breaks. But I mean, yeah, he was kind of getting fed up with stuff. He either needed a change of scenery at a different team, or he was gonna go part time or something like this, or just fully quit. So
Hmm.
if you kept an eye on it for a while, it's not very surprising information, but um, it still is. It still kind of came out of left field. But that was the big news out of this week. But yeah, so far no major silly season rumors. We do know that for this full pack season, Dodge is going to be let go of RGA. He will be transferring over to Bloxy Motorsports. So he is now a Bloxy Motorsport driver in all series. Um, that's not really going to matter in this time next year, but I mean, you got to imagine he's going to be one of the guys Bloxy takes in house. So
Hmm.
we'll see there. But yeah, after that, we have the penalty report. Drivers have actually been kind of, I mean, not really, but as orderly as they can be for ACRE. They've been pretty safe and responsible drivers for ACRE standards. So, yeah, no major penalties over the last little bit. I mean, we've had some time penalties for missing laps or whatever, but I mean, that's not anything crazy. Um, But the next thing is drivers looking up. So, Aries, I know you haven't heard the segment, but every time we do an episode, we pick 3 drivers who are looking up and they might be starting to do better, and we look at 3 drivers that may not be looking as good as they were the last time we made an episode, right? So, for drivers looking up, I know he just announced his retirement, but I think you got to go with Banana Boy. I mean, he just won a Cars Cup championship. He He won Crown Jewel events and was running good in a bunch of them. Again, he's the leading non-part-time driver in the overall point standings, which, I mean, I know. Especially if I'm the one that's leading, which I am, the other drivers do not care about part-time drivers whatsoever. So, basically, as most people see, he's leading the overall standings. So, I mean, he went from second to first. I think you just got to look at him as a driver going up, even though he announced his retirement, because now he has nothing to lose too, right? I mean,
Hmm.
this is kind of his last chance, so I think you got to look at him. Another driver who is looking up, I'm gonna say Bloxy, just because even though he had a tough loss in the Cars Cup standings, which I actually, when I was doing that live, my points were off slightly. Bloxy was actually leading heading into the final race. The results in the overall in the point standings didn't change. Banano still got it, but it was like less than I thought. It was like 13 points, and I think Banana Boy was like minus 13 heading into the race, so or something like that.
Hmm.
So a little bit different than what I had calculated there. But you got to look at Bloxy coming off of a Soda 600 win, and he had a tough loss in the Cars Cup standings, but he's been getting more wins recently. I think you got to look at him as a driver that's looking up. And I think you got to look at Doctor. This may just be because he's actually showing up to races now, but and he took a little bit off, but um, he's starting to look like he can put things together and maybe be able to get that third career win because he's shown potential in the past and he's seeming to start to pick things up again. But I know you haven't really been keeping up with this much, but do you agree with most of that?
What?
Do you agree with most of the drivers I picked there?
Hmm.
And then drivers looking down. I know I say this most of the time. I think you got to look at Pineapple. He has fallen from, again, if you don't count part-time drivers, which basically no one does. I mean, I look at it, but that's bias. That's me being biased. But anyway, um, he has lost the points lead. He had some tough losses trying to defend his Crown Jewel event wins. And, I think he's just got to try to look forward and try to pick up the pieces. Jaden is another driver looking down. I think he was putting together some solid runs, but now it's just kind of just falling apart a little bit with him. You should be able to get things going back together, but he might be in a little bit of a tough spot here. I think it will get better for him, though. And gosh, she's one more driver. Drivers looking down. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's about it. All the other drivers are pretty much either level or going up and stuff. Rostock Cup Series update. I believe is next. Yeah, so obviously 3 races into the season, we have had 2 absolute banger races. We had the closest finish in league history after Master got after I finally remembered that the join late rules exist. Master gets put to the back, and we have the closest finish in league history. Timing and scoring got it wrong, and even that was within like a 100th of a second. So, I mean, that it was a close finish. And then obviously Scorch Raceway last lap pass, which kind of on Banana Boy there that I made, kind of in part made him retire a little bit, just because that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back with in terms of just the frustrating losses. So, I mean, it feels weird being able to just kind of point one mistake by a driver to as what's going to cause a massive ripple effect for the rest of the league history, because he was about to enter the prime of his career. I mean, I have no scientific data to back this up, but I would assume
Mm-hmm.
sim racing drivers on video games probably, hit their prime and best driving abilities around their teenage years, probably later teenager years, but I would imagine that's true, just because that's probably when you're playing games most. So, I'm kind of surprised you do that. I'm also kind of surprised you just didn't wait out until, the new stuff happens, but I don't know. But yeah, not much to update on Rostock. It's still very early in the season. But I only have 2 more segments. The upcoming schedule, so we're going to look at the next events we have coming up. I gotta check something. When are these supposed to start? Because I forgot. I made a. We have a type of race I completely forgot about, so now I gotta see when those races are. Okay, so we still got a little bit of time until. Okay. Um. Yeah, we'll see. All right, so the next race we have is going to be tomorrow afternoon in the Rostock Cup Series. Let me see if I can hop down there. So here, we'll just look at the next. I'm going to change how the segment works. Usually I just looked at the next 10 races. We're just going to look at the next, 5 races in each segment. So, Rostock Cup Series, next race is at Hawaii. Tomorrow, probably going to be, I'm looking at 2:30 maybe. So, you think you can make that one?
Maybe.
Alright, then we have another race later that night. It's not a crown jewel event, but it's almost like the Bristol Night Race of ACRE. The school's out 500 because ironically, I'm the last guy to get out of school. So so I kind of officially start the ACRE summer. So we get to start the summer stretch with the school's out 500. That's always a fun race. Then we have FC Speedway, June 14th. That is, I want to say Saturday? Or, no. Thursday? I don't know. One of those days. Then we have the start of a new series. We have, find it on here. We have endurance racing. If you don't know what endurance racing is, it's basically timed racing, where you race for X amount of time. You have driver swap outs at times and stuff, but our first one is June 14th, and it is Daytona, the Oval, so that's going to be something. Should be a lot of fun over there. In terms of streamed races, I don't think there's anything too crazy after the... there's Iowa on June 15th for that streamed race. And then I think the next one... And then we have Brooklyn's Outer Circuit. We moved that one up a little bit instead of in the summer. And finally, for the Rostock Cup Series, let's look at the next few races. Then we have Auto Club June 16th, Arizona on June 18th, and Odge Motordrome on June 19th. So that is kind of the next races to look for. But now I have
Okay.
more time in the summer. We can make more Acre Productions, and yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this episode. You got anything else you want to say, Aries?
Nope.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for this episode. If you want to see more, leave a like and subscribe. Do all that stuff. See you next one. Goodbye.